I remember I called my friend, I called John MacArthur, and I said, John, what do I do? And he said, this is what you do. He said, you just keep studying the Bible, you just keep loving your people, and you just keep preaching. If this thing is of God, it will flourish. If it is not of God, it will go away.
I'm thinking of Spurgeon and his bouts with depression and discouragement. Has that been true for you in ministry? Have you faced long seasons of discouragement?
No, I have to be honest and say no. I have friends who have, and I say to them, you know, I won't mention their names, but I say, I really feel sorry for you because you have these great, you know, events. I'm not clever enough to reach the depths that you reach because you think so deeply about things. I think I'm just the most superficial person that exists. And that the first time that I spoke at Moody Bible Institute, they asked me to do a seminar at the pastors' conference. I was so naive to things, having come from the UK, I didn't even know what a seminar really was. But it was a talk in a small room, you know, with hardly anybody there. And so I had to give them titles. And so the title I gave him was, why I did this, I will never know, but I gave him the title, Dealing with Ministerial Depression. and when I got to the room, it was solid. I mean, it was packed. And it wasn't because anyone knew my name, because nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who I was. And I suddenly realized, oh. Mm-hmm. So what I said on that occasion was, I know the sadness that relates to entering into the sadness of others. I mean, you can't carry a coffin that holds an 11-month-old child to the grave and look into the eyes of the siblings and the mom and dad and enter into that without, if you don't take on something of the weight of that and it doesn't impact you, there's something really wrong. But that is a different thing from actually dealing with, even for example, the letters of criticism that come. I want to have a soft heart, but I think I get a bit of a hard head when it comes to stuff like that. I've never, especially material that is not, that is unsigned, things like that. Some of my friends, they really get buried under that. They want to ruminate on it and go on from there. I love Nehemiah's response, you know, when Sanballat and Tobiah and those rascals are giving him the business and making allegations against him and sending a kind of open letter. And he says, you know, nothing like what you say is happening. Mm-hmm. You're just making it up out of your heads. Or when Paul says, I don't care if I'm judged by you or by any human court. I don't judge myself. That doesn't make me innocent. So he's not claiming to ride above it and beyond it. But I think there is, I think constitutionally, in terms of personality, there are pluses and minuses to what I'm saying now. The fact that I'm not holding this out as a virtue, I'm just being honest about it. So I know what it is to get the blues. I know what it is to get tired. And usually when I'm tired, I don't realize, people know I'm tired before I know I'm tired. And so I tend to just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And eventually you find yourself saying, oh golly. For example, after the COVID time where I preached, as many of us did, to an empty auditorium through the lens of a camera, that was far more exhausting than I realized. And when we came sort of out of that, I felt that I needed time then to just recharge. But I was not buried under that stuff. Again, you know, Spurgeon's dark days, again, his personality. I mean, Churchill had those dog days as well. These are immense characters. And I say again, you know, to my friends, I feel sorry for you that you get depressed, because I'm not clever enough to figure out what it is that's making you depressed.
You have to have had, though, times when you get a report that someone who's been an ally for a long time is leaving the church, or there's a faction over here that doesn't like this, whether it's politics that we get involved with or the direction of the church, do you ever find yourself under the weight of that, feeling discouraged?
Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned that, I can think of, pretty soon after I accepted the call to this church, somebody who had previously accepted the call and then left before he followed through, was called back to the immediate area by an elder of the church who had decided that he was disenfranchised for a number of reasons. And so I had recently come from Scotland, and now I'm in this. And I discover that this gentleman has rented out a church facility, 7 miles up the road, and has called this person to come back and start another church right in the background of it. Well, I was not happy about that. And I remember I called my friend, I called John MacArthur, and I said, John, what do I do? And he said, this is what you do. He said, you just keep studying the Bible, you just keep loving your people, and you just keep preaching. If this thing is of God, it will flourish. If it is not of God, it will go away. Don't you worry about this one bit at all. Just keep doing what God has called you to do. And that was the best advice I could ever been given, because I think I would have been tempted to constantly be inquiring, how's it going, checking it down. And that gave me freedom to, not in a way that was just dismissive, but in a way that said, no, I think that's right, I need to do this. And I think I have to tell you that most of the troubles that I've caused for myself, I caused for myself by decisions that I've made that were probably, shooting from the hip or doing things like that. That really discourages me. When I know that I haven't given my best to the task, when I know that I've spoken out of turn in the elders' meeting, not because what I said was untrue, but because it wasn't helpful and it probably wasn't kind in that context. I think there's good reason to go away and commiserate over those things. But by and large, I think God in his goodness has, through various mechanisms, not least of all the team that he's put around me here, I've been protected thus far from some of the things that I've seen many of my good friends deal with.
You and I have talked to pastors who will routinely on a Sunday afternoon be in a low point because they're second guessing the sermon they just preached. I wish I'd said this, I shouldn't have said that. Is that true for you?
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, I haven't done it in a while because my wife is fed up with it, but I routinely would leave the ministry on Sunday evenings. I'd come home, we do 3 Sunday morning service, Sunday night I'd come home, walk in, take my shoes off, and before Sue has a chance to greet me, I say, tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going looking for a sensible job. I will go tomorrow. I don't care if it's Walmart, Home Depot, I don't care. I'm getting a proper job, the kind of job that other people have. And she used to say, oh, honey, come on, it was a good day. Now she just says, oh, be quiet. She just says, be quiet. Because I'm completely unemployable at this point. I mean, there might have been a possibility years ago, but I got nowhere to go. But no, yeah, again, in terms of the thing about preaching as well, I don't think anybody really knows how to preach, apart from Jesus, maybe Paul. But yeah, I used to ruminate on it far more than I do. Maybe I should go back to doing that. It might produce better material. But no, my approach to things is to discount the highs and discount the lows, both in terms of people's either criticism or approbation. And somewhere in there you have people who are your best folks who will tell you straight up. And your wife needs to be one of them as well, I think. And if not, then your teenage children will really help you, especially bursting the bubble of pride.
I will often think about the boy with the loaves and the fishes and think if I was faithful to offer what I was led by the Lord to offer, then I'm going to be content with that, however well it went, because I've had Sundays where I thought, I did well this morning, and there's There's no spiritual fruit you can tell. Other Sundays where I thought that was a miserable excuse for a sermon and people's lives were transformed by it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that is helpful. He puts his treasure in old clay pots. If he can speak through Balaam's donkey, why would we get a fat head?